Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to Behind the Scenes, Breaking Through the Brick Walls. This is an interview series that I'm doing right here on my business page where you're going to get a glimpse of life on and off camera with an online business owner, and you're getting strategic business puzzle pieces that you can put into action to grow your own business. So today's interview is with Karen Thaxton. She's the owner of Marketing Words, where she offers digital training products to help convert better, sell more, and build a better business. So my name's Pamela Lewerenz. I'm known as the Brick Wall Coach, and that just means I'm a business consultant that coaches Gen X solopreneurs how to create actionable plans for their business success. And I am so excited to be talking with Karen today, and she's going to share all about her business with us. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks for having me, Pam. And it's nice to meet a neighbor.
I know, we're both in South Carolina. It's so awesome. I love it. So why don't you just start off with telling us a little bit about yourself on a personal level?
Well, I am an animal lover. I have had pets my entire life. I love wild animals, domesticated animals, pretty much anything that has a face and feet I like. And my husband is the same way. So we do a lot of work with animals. We have pets, and I've had pets my entire life. We love the water, love going out on our boat on a sunny afternoon or spending time at the lake house when the weather is warm. And neither one of us are cold weather people. So except for today, where South Carolina went into a time warp and it was 30 degrees and rainy all day. We're moving into my favorite time of the year. I love spring and summer.
Yeah, me too. Me too, definitely. And I will be glad to be rid of this pollen. I have not experienced this because I didn't move to South Carolina until the end of June last year. So I didn't go through this pollen season yet.
Wow, you have had quite an inaugural spring. This has been,
Yes.
for those that don't know, we literally, without exaggeration, can get easily an eighth of an inch of a pollen yellow coating all over your car, the decks, the rails, the sides of your house, everything. It is horrible for the month of March. But now we should be moving off, and all that yellow yuck should be going away.
Yay.
Yay!
So what did you do before you opened up your business?
I have always been in marketing. 1,000 years ago, I got to know the disc jockeys at a local radio station that did the morning show, and would go by sometimes and bring them biscuits for breakfast or whatever, and ended up filling in for the receptionist one summer when I was out of school. She'd hurt her back and was going to have surgery and be out of work for 3 months. And the general manager said, "Do you want to answer phones and do stuff?" "Sure, no problem." And I guess maybe the third day on the job, relatively soon, a salesperson came walking in and said, "I've got a new client. We've got to get the spots on the air this afternoon. Do you know how to write copy?" "Sure." "Okay, here, boom, do this." And I turned to the girl next to me and said, "What's copy?" I had no idea, none. That was my introduction, and from there have worked at radio stations and newspapers and ad agencies and whatnot. So marketing has always been a love.
Oh, nice, nice. So now how long have you been in business for yourself?
20 years this year. Started in 1999. So very excited.
Yeah, this is a great thing. 20 years. That gives hope to so many people. It really does.
It is possible. The internet was born, and maybe a year or two later, I went into business. So
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So did you always like feel that pull towards being a business owner? Did you want to be an entrepreneur, or did you just kind of stumble into that?
never ever had an inclination to own my own business. I don't think a lot of people who knew me well back then would have pegged me for being a business owner. I was sort of like, I joke now that I'm totally unemployable because I was sort of like the kid in the classroom who doesn't really pay attention and is fidgety. And I mean, maybe it's because the subject is too easy or too hard or just uninteresting, but whatever the deal was, I was a good employee. I always got very good reviews and got my raises on time and things like that. But it just, it wasn't my thing. And it never dawned on me to go into business for myself until my husband and I decided that we wanted to try to have a family and I wanted to work from home.
Yeah.
And weren't able to birth a child, but we birthed a business. So
Perfect.
now it's 20 years old and we didn't have to pay college tuition. So everything's good. That's our joke in my household. If we want to splurge and do something fun, it's like, well, it's cheaper than college tuition. So
True, isn't it? Oh my goodness. So, I'm looking at your website, which we're going to put all the links on there after, but I noticed you've been a guest speaker on podcasts and expos and summits. So how did you start with speaking?
there was actually a lady that she and I are still friends. I think the first time Jill Whalen contacted me was probably 2004-ish, 2006-ish, somewhere around in there. And she and I did some work together for her clients, and she decided that she wanted to start having some workshops, not really conferences, but small scale, 40 to 60 people, something like that, and invited me and several other of her business friends to drive to Atlanta. And she was going to do the first one by herself and said, hey, you gals want to come and have some fun and we can play some and do business some and whatever. So started there. I'd done presentations at work when I had a real job, and done presentations at church and other things. Oh, I just popped my microphone, sorry. But that was the first time that I ever did anything for the online business, and did those for years. Being in Jill's conferences led to companies that wanted to bring me in to do in-house training and do online training. I think what was the first one? WebEx.
Yes.
Way back when. That may still be around, but that was the first online webinar platform that I remember. So we did some things with, what was the other one? GoToWebinar. They might still be around too.
Yeah.
Did things like that online. But one thing, once people see you and they like your teaching style, other opportunities just come on in, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. So you continue to go and speak each year at different places.
Mm-hmm. Later this month, I'll be in Daytona, Florida at a conference called Beach Camp. It's a women's online entrepreneur workshop.
I have heard of that one. Yeah. I've actually heard like the last 2 or 3 years that keeps popping up on my radar. So that means something.
Yep. So that'll be fun. Love to do stuff like that. And got some others planned for later this year.
Good. So also on your website, you've got a really impressive list of certifications. And that's not something you see a lot of people put on their websites. Mm-hmm. Do you believe business owners should continue to learn new things every year?
Absolutely. Even if it doesn't involve a certification per se, just the fact that you can state on your site, I completed this course, got that certificate, or whatever is offered, so that people know that you're staying up to date with the products and the services that you're offering everyone. Not to mention, it's online business, so it changes so much. Like we were talking about with webinars, you couldn't have done online training when I started out, because there was no such. We had what was it? Probably around 2000, I think. Teleclasses came out. Yeah. Which maybe were a precursor to podcasts, but they were totally live. People had to call in and you just listened. You couldn't see anything because it was all on the telephone. So you used to do tons of teleclasses. But all of this technology and new advancements, there were no blogs, there were no podcasts, no social media, none of that stuff. So as these things come into being, it gives you new opportunities to put them to work in your own business or to use them to help out your clients in one way or another.
Yeah, the opportunities are amazing of what we have. And like you said, they keep changing like every month. You really have to keep up on everything that's out there and all the new things being added, some of the old things going away. It's forever changing.
Right. And PPC ads, there used to only be Google AdWords, and now pay per click can also mean social ads on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or wherever, and all sorts of other opportunities. So all of that can come into play with your own business to help you advance, or depending on what kind of business you have, it can also be help to your clients.
Yeah, yeah. So throughout all these years that you've been in business, what would you say is your biggest hurdle, and how did you overcome it to build your business?
By far, it was the recession of 2008, I think it was. And like a lot of other online companies, well, like a lot of other companies, period, marketing words got hit hard. And by the time all was said and done, about 3 years later, I think it bottomed out and we had lost half of our revenue.
Oh,
And I'm sitting there just watching it dwindle month
yeah,
after month, going, what am I going to do?
yeah,
I'm not, I don't think anybody would ever define me as a quitter. There have been times where I've had to stop and have a pity party or two, but usually I'm going to keep on going. So I was looking for what had changed, how that impacted the people that I wanted to work with. And back then we were doing almost exclusively service type work. We hadn't gotten so heavy into the online training at that point. We had a few things, but not much. So when I talked to clients that I hadn't heard from in a while, and I encourage you to do that anyway, whether we're having a recession or not, always touch base with the folks that have just sort of fallen away and see if you can reconnect. But there were things that kept coming up that they could not afford to outsource the copywriting tasks that they had before. And some of them were bringing in a staff copywriter. They were going to create a full-time position and hire a copywriter. Others already had people in-house that were going to pick up the slack for what outsourcers used to do. And then I started thinking, okay, how do I work myself into these types of situations? There were others, but we'll use these as an example. For the people who were hiring a brand new copywriter, I already knew everything that he or she needed to know. I'd been working with these companies for years. I knew what they liked, what they didn't like. Sometimes they had a style book, a style guide for their brand, and sometimes they didn't. Mm-hmm. So I asked them if it would be helpful for me to train their new hire. And several of them jumped on that. It was going to be a one-time fee. So it wasn't an ongoing expense that they had. It was going to save them a lot of time because I already had all the stuff that the new person needed to know. So that worked out really well.
Nice.
For others that had people in the company that already knew how to write and knew all of that other stuff, but really weren't web writers, I did some WebEx and GoToWebinar training for those people, just 1 or 2 sessions, and then maybe allowed, I think it was 10 follow-up emails or something like that in a package deal, and had lots of people take me up on that. So we would do, a group of 5 or 10 at a time with their employees and have the training go that way. So if you're having struggles, find ways that you can work yourself into the current situation. If something's changed, don't think, well, that's it, I'm done.
Right.
Right. Okay, that didn't work. Now what can I do? Now what can I try? Until you find a way that you can get into a situation in a way that will benefit both you and your customers. And that's the economy began to turn once you hit that bottom hill. So we started climbing again semi-naturally, but that kept us from absolutely going down the toilet until things turned around and we were able to survive and actually input a couple of new services at that point.
Yeah. So it's really just all about molding yourself and
Yes.
figuring out what your clients need and trying to give that to them, which is another reason why to continue to learn every year.
Yes, absolutely. Think of it kind of like um, the Beatles or Madonna or
Yeah.
what other
Yeah.
contemporary music, rock stars, pop stars that have totally reinvented themselves over the years.
Right.
The Beatles were not at all like that 1950
Yeah.
little baby faced people. They didn't sound anything like the way they started. They went down a long journey. The same with Madonna. She did not, she started out as the material girl and all the, the
Oh yeah. Remember
80s
all
hair
that.
and all that stuff. And she did, when she ended her music career, she did not look or sound at all like she did when she started. So have to keep reinventing your business.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. Which kind of brings us to we're going to talk about a steady flow of subscribers, your
Mm-hmm.
passive income with your blog. So, how is somebody going to create that steady flow of subscribers? How do they do that? What does that mean for their business?
The way that I like to do it, there are multiple ways, but this is one of my favorites, is by using your blog. If you don't have a blog, it's a simple enough thing to start. It continues to add fresh content to your overall site, which is good for Google and good for your client base and for people that stop by to see what's happening. They can get a better idea of who your business is and what it stands for if you have a blog. If you already have one that's existing and maybe it's not really pulling its weight, you think of it more as an expense, a time expense or a monetary expense than a lead generator. It's simple to turn those things around. Blogging is more relational than running ads or doing some other types of marketing that come across as more in your face. Blogging is, I think of it more as a handshake. I've got something to share with you that you can use that you're going to find helpful. When you're doing that, think of topics that will draw in the types of people that you want to connect with in your business, and that also allow you to highlight expertise that you may have. So perhaps keyword research does a really good job of bringing in these types of topics too, because you can see what people are actively searching for. If you pop up Google Keyword Planner, which is free, or some of the other free keyword tools, and just do a little bit of research. I tell you what, let me look over here real quick. Excuse me if I'm looking off in the wrong
Yeah, no,
direction.
that's
I'll tell you about a new plugin, Keywords Anywhere. Everywhere, sorry, everywhere. Keywords Everywhere is the name of the plugin, and it's free, and it works with Chrome or with Firefox. And when you do a search on Google, or I think it'll work on other search engines too, over in the right hand side, it's going to pop up some PPC related keywords and the dollar value and the search volume. And
oh,
it's not perfect. If you're going to get serious about keyword research, it's not, I don't suggest that you use only that, but it's super duper quick to give you an idea of what other words and phrases to chase down while you're doing the research. But look for things that will give you that opportunity to reach out to somebody, your perfect client, if you will, and share with them some helpful tips. If all you're writing about in your blog post is that you want to show them how smart you are, but you're not leaving them with anything they can take away, I think most people are going to get tired of reading those types of blog posts. So I encourage you to put some actionable tips in there whenever you write one. When you do that, you can also insert a content upgrade. Some people call it a lead gen bonus or freebie or something like that. And you can put forms actually in your post on the blog. You can do it in text if you want to link to a different page on your blog for the opt-in or something like that. Make the opt-in related to the topic of the blog post. So if you're writing about lead generation techniques and then you offer a content upgrade that talks about 10 reasons you should hire a business coach, that's sort of a miss. But content upgrades can be really quick to create. A 10-page report. As a matter of fact, you want them to be short. Cheat sheets, templates, and checklists are huge now. Okay. A lot of people want to do something massive like an entire ebook or an hour-long webinar replay. The issue with those is that they take too long. People won't stop and look at them right then.
So true.
Yeah,
so true.
If it's going to take them a week to get around to look at it, chances are it's going into hard drive heaven and they'll never find it again. Okay, I downloaded this webinar that I've never watched and, what did I do with it? Oh, well, let me get on to the next thing, so you sort of miss out. But those quick, helpful tools make really great content upgrades. So in the middle of a blog post or at the end of a blog post on that topic that's for your perfect clients, on a subject matter that you're really great at and can offer actionable help, then you put this in. When they sign up, they get put on your list. And then the follow-up emails that you send afterwards can be a lead nurturing / lead generation tool. Here's the freebie you got. Here's some more great information for you. Let's talk about how we might work together, or, if you offer training products or other things like that, how I can help you through this, that, and the other thing. And you guide them through the process. But using blogs to fill funnels and do list building and lead gen is very natural, and it flows really well because people are comfortable throughout the entire process. So Absolutely one of my favorite methods.
Nice. Good. Well, I'm glad that we're talking about this today because I was chosen by FeedSpot of one of 15 bloggers that blog on Gen X. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot out there. And that's perfect because I'm thinking, how am I going to, create more of a following? How am I going to get that out there to more people? And I think that's perfect. Like you said, I always... I overlook those things. Mm-hmm. I overlook them. I'm so intent on, okay, I'm going to share these 10 tips, but then it stops there and I don't go that next step. So that's great information.
Well, congratulations to you, by the way, but that's the perfect type of situation. If you do the top 10 tips, okay, great. This is what I'm able to share in a blog post. So here's the next logical step is if you love these tips, then let's go to, a 10-page report or a 15-page report or this set of cheat sheets and worksheets and whatnot that will help you implement the 10 tips and things like that. Would be phenomenal ways to go to keep the conversation going.
Yeah, definitely. And then that becomes your passive income through your blog because you're leading them down that funnel to purchase something.
Yes. And you can do it that way, or you can just make your own ads for your own digital products or your own services and put them in the blog. You don't have people say, well, I don't want to run ads. Well, what if it's ads for your own stuff? And then they go, really?
Really? I mean, how ingenious, really.
Yeah. So, and even if you're doing content upgrades and you have a course or a pretty extensive ebook or a paper book that you're doing, give away a chapter, offer, one of the videos in your big video course for free. Maybe you need to whittle it down a little bit. If the sessions in your video course are an hour or longer, whittle it down to, the best 20 minutes out of the session and use that for something that somebody could, sign up for and watch in 15 or 20 minutes. Things like that work really well.
Perfect. Good. So now your business is really focused at this time on the digital training products, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what can you share with us about what you have to offer, what those are?
Marketing Words is a copywriting agency, and everything we do has to do with words. Whether that's writing for websites or creating blog posts that can fill a funnel, designed to fill a funnel. I've got a brand new copywriting course that's going to launch in the next couple of weeks. We have training for people who have e-commerce websites that sell products. There's a training for that. For Amazon sellers, there's a couple of different trainings for Amazon sellers about writing the listings for Amazon, which is a massively particular process.
Yes.
Amazon has lots of rules and regulations for that. I'm trying to think of what else is over there. Blogging. We've got an ebook about blogging and several other topics. So if that's something that somebody needs to learn to do better, it's all about communication. People hear copywriting and they kind of freak out, but you're just communicating, communicate, convince, convert. That's what you want to do with your words. So
yes. And I was going to say, it is the words. It's making them dance. And not everybody can do that.
Well, not everybody has been trained to do it yet.
Yes. Yes. True. True. You can learn. Everyone can learn whatever there is, but yes, that you're not everybody is born a copywriter.
No, not everybody is born a copywriter, but you can learn. And that's probably the number one. I'm sorry, I have something floating around in my office and it keeps landing on my cheek and tickling me. But copywriting is probably the number one skill that you can learn to benefit your business, because if you take out everything except the words, you can still sell, you can still communicate. If you take out all the words, it'd be really difficult. I won't say it's impossible, but with just pictures or motions from a video with no narration, no speaker, no copy on a web page, only pictures, if all the words are gone, things just kind of come to a halt. All your list building depends on words. All your PPC ads, they depend on words. So it's really something that is worth your while. And while people talk about you need to make an investment, it truly is an investment that will pay you back time and time again.
Time and time again. Yes, that is a good investment. So I want to kind of wrap it up, but I want to ask you, what piece of advice do you have that you'd like to pass along to our listeners?
About
list building? It could be advice on anything to do with the business world.
If you are convinced that your business is where you need to be, don't let anybody or any circumstance talk you out of it. There have been times where we have had bumps in the road. I have had personal bumps in the road. We had the recession that I talked about that whacked out half of our income. What you're seeing in difficult times is a snapshot. It's one moment in time. And it reminds me of when I travel and I'm in an airplane and I'm below the clouds and it's bright and sunny and gorgeous. And then we have to go up in elevation and all of a sudden the clouds are below us and there's nothing. It's just gray and there's no sun and it's not typically attractive. And if that's all I saw, I might be pretty disappointed. Right. But we're only up there for one moment in time. And then we have to come back down and the sun comes back out and the grass is green and you see all the houses and everything is a much prettier picture. So if you happen to be going through difficulties in your business and you know this is what you're supposed to be doing, it's not a mismatch, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, don't give up. Don't give up. It's one moment in time and it will change.
Yep. That is perfect advice. Perfect advice. It really is, because like you said, you've been through it. I've been through it. Everybody goes through it. Yep. And it might not just be once. It could be multiple times.
It could be.
It ends. It ends. Yep. You look for the way out and it ends. So yeah, no, that's perfect advice.
What is the biblical statement? This too shall pass.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you wanted to share?
We talked about a lot of good stuff in this short
Oh,
period of time. Um, just that I really do encourage people to hone in on their copywriting skills and not to think that copywriting automatically relates to hype. I hear that too. Well, I don't want to write like copywriters write. It's just communication. But if you get to the point to where you're able to whip out a conversion page, an opt-in page, a landing page, you want to do webinars or things of that nature, and you need the copy to be able to convince people to sign up for your webinar or write emails that get more opens and more clicks and more response for you. You can write it any way you want to write it, any way you're comfortable with. Copywriting is very customizable, I guess I'll say.
yes.
But it is something that, unlike a lot of other skills you can get, can impact every single part of your business.
Right, right. And sometimes I think when we stop and look at our business as a whole, if we see that it's not flowing the way we want, I think a lot of times it goes back to the copywriting.
It could be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a few things, but copywriting is like one of the top 5 things that you really have to look at.
Yep, it is. It is. I agree.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today,
My
Karen.
pleasure.
It's been wonderful.
My
Absolutely
pleasure.
wonderful.
Thanks for inviting me, and it's so nice to meet you. Maybe one day we'll meet
Yeah.
in person since we're just around the corner.
Yeah, yeah, I know. There's like 2 other people that I've met other than you that live here in South Carolina. So I'm
Oh,
hoping that we
cool.
can all, I think that would be great. I would love to do that.
That's neat. Great.
Good, good. So I'm going to put all the links in here for everybody, and then I'm going to invite you to go and check out Karen's website, the things that she's offering, the ways you can follow her. She's on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Marketing Words, and I believe she's on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest, and
Mm-hmm.
Twitter at
Yep.
Karen Thaxton.
Yep.
And I just, want everybody to remember every day is a good day to be you. You're amazing. Don't forget it. Now go out and rock your business. And I'll see you soon for another episode.